Kono bangumi wa goren no sponsor no teikyo de okurishimasu. Yeah.
Oh.
This is something of a sore topic for me. On the one hand, I love Konami for their long-running, amazing video game franchises, which have brought me joy throughout my life. You know, Ganbare Goemon, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. On the other hand, I despise Konami for what they have become, what they have done to their beloved franchises, and oh so many pachinko games. We all enjoy taking the piss out of Konami, but would you believe that Konami has been doing that themselves for, well, a very long time? This is Parodius Portable, a 2007 compilation that covers a decade of tongue-in-cheek stupidity and over-the-top self-referential humor. This collection contains 5 games from the Parodius series, so it's the perfect opportunity. If I talk about this one game, I'm talking about all 5 games in that pack, and that just happens to be all mainline Parodius games. I'm not lazy. It's called thinking outside of the box. I happen to be quite good at it. Parodius the Octopus Saves the Earth was released in 1988 for the Microsoft X... no, not box. Just X. It was an old computer way back when, and Konami released a bunch of games for it, among them this. Though the footage you're seeing is from the PSP's enhanced port, which smooths out the frame rate and makes the game look way less offensive on the eyes. This is the real first entry in the Parodius series, and it shows. Oh god, does it show. Unplayable almost. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but I can't stand this game, it's just so hard. Being the first game, it's a good opportunity to talk about gameplay basics. Herodias is a combination of Gradius' side-on space battles and power-up system with Twinbee's bells. It's a send-up of Konami's other games, and features characters from them, including Goemon from Ganbare Goemon, Vic Viper from Gradius, and Pentaro from Penguin Adventure. Enemies drop either these pickups in blue and red, or bells. The blue pickup destroys all regular enemies on screen. The red bumps the power bar in the bottom left up by 1 box. If the power you want is highlighted, you can press a button to enable it. The bells behave differently based on colour. Generally speaking, the yellow bells increase your score, while the other colours do various things. This would have been impressive on the MSX, but looking back it's really not so good. Maybe I've been spoiled, as things just got better as time progressed. Herodias From Myth to Laughter first arrived in 1990, and eventually got a handful of releases outside Japan, on NES and SNES, but never in the USA. That's weird. It's the logical next step for the series. Everything looks, sounds, and plays better. I chose the octopus here because Ripple is totally my scene. I didn't mention it earlier, but Parodius features enemy patterns and weapon loadouts directly lifted from Gradius and its contemporaries. To spice things up, the space shooter theme is supplanted for cute penguins and kitty cat pirate ship. One of my least favourite new additions is the burlesque dancer obstacle, whose legs you have to fly under in order to avoid getting squashed. Who even comes up with this shit? I think the folks at Konami must have been feeling a little sex-starved and used this game as a way to vent their frustrations. Well, seeing the direction this franchise went in, I imagine that isn't far from the truth. This game is certainly the start of the scantily clad anime woman theme that carries on with each subsequent game. Even the Easter Island moai head, a Gradius staple, is now rather feminine and shoots out these long moais. All you need to do is reverse the footage and that's a bit suggestive, isn't it? Bunny girls inside bubbles. And one of the later bosses is a blonde-haired woman draped in nothing but a towel. Aha. Now I can see why America didn't get this at the time. Probably thought it would be too offensive or something. Some things never change. Damn, I made her cry. I feel f***ing awful. When I'm playing video games, I don't need to be reminded of my encounters with women in real life. In typical Herodias fashion, you got a final boss that doesn't fight back. Always felt strange to me, that you'd get all the way to the final boss and there'd be no defense. I guess they threw all of it at you on the way there. Fantastic Parodius Pursue the Glory of the Past hit the arcades in 1994. I must say you have no need to pursue the past, Fantastic Parodius, because you're much better than that. This is the first entry to include 2-player simultaneous co-op, and more importantly, is somehow an even bigger leap in quality than the last game. Unfortunately, this PSP compilation doesn't include the Super Famicom exclusive characters. This is rather disappointing, seeing as Goemon and Kid Dracula were amongst them. Lame. When this game came out, the PlayStation was doing the rounds in Japan, and the Sega Saturn was about to hit the gaming scene. With games like Panzer Dragoon, critics were quick to dismiss Parodius for being old-fashioned, and for not bringing anything particularly new to the table. To those critics I say, that's like comparing a crumpet to a bagel. They're two completely different things. But they had a point. While this is a far superior game to the previous entries, the truth is that it brings nothing new at all. Fantastic Parodius plays to its already existing strengths, and pumps effort into making sure the game plays, sounds, and looks even better, without really adding much of anything at all. Even a whole bunch of bosses are reused. Cat pirate ship, female moai head. With those longer moai, it looks even more suggestive than ever. One rather pleasing new level archetype is pounding Mochi on the moon. I'm not really bothered where Mochi gets pounded, as long as I'm the one doing it. I haven't yet commented on the music in this series, which is predominantly remixed from classical music. The final stage of this game features a remix of Dvorak's New World Symphony No. 5. And while I know very little about classical music, I've always enjoyed that particular piece. It, like all the music in Fantastic Parodius, is, well, fantastic. The fourth game on this collection is Chatting Parodius Live, Forever With Me. Originally released in 1995, this game wasn't made for the arcades, but rather with consoles in mind. The chatting part of the title refers to the game's obnoxious voiceover present throughout, while the Forever With Me part pokes fun at Tokimeki Memorial's subtitle, Forever With You. Once again, this game changes very little. It does feature rudimentary 3D graphics, even in the Super Famicom version, but this was commonplace in 2D platformers by that time. For example, Yoshi's Island took advantage of similar tech. The 1996 port for the PlayStation and Saturn added a whole bunch of new features. Kid Dracula was included as an unlockable character, and there were some bonus stages added. Oh look! It's the pieces from Tyson Puzzle Dama. We've covered this before on Sushi Bites. See? Learning can be fun! The PSP version is based on the PlayStation port, and also features a significant change. Whether or not the license was obtained for this to begin with, I'm not entirely sure, but the previous versions of Chatting Parodius used That's the Way by KC and the Sunshine Band. For some reason, this was changed in the PSP version to a DDR song that Konami owned the rights to. It's unclear whether this was to avoid copyright infringement, or because they didn't have the license, but it's an interesting thing to make note of. Because of course, back when this game first came out, DDR didn't even exist. So it did strike me as odd. While this game amped up the sexiness a little, Sexy Parodius took it and ran with it, and even scored a touchdown. This 1996 title isn't messing around. It's deliberately sexually explicit. It also shifts the gameplay styles around a bit, and being much shorter, it's a great pick up and play kind of game. In short, I consider this the best one. But why? Well, how about the ability to play as a blob? How about boss life bars? How about stage-specific challenges that encourage replayability? How about a Castlevania-themed level? This game has it all. Why would you suffer through the first and second titles when you've got this one? I know I'm particularly light on commentary for this particular entry, but I've already explained in depth what Parodius is. This game is just more of that. Better and better. Really, really pleasing and just the right size. Now I'm starting to sound sexually suggestive. However you choose to play it, I thoroughly recommend Fantastic Parodius, Chatting Parodius, and Sexy Parodius. If I had to pick one, it would be Sexy Parodius by a very, very, very small margin. But I don't have to choose, and neither do you, because all 5 games I've shown you today are feature complete on the PSP version, and for that reason alone I highly recommend getting a hold of this compilation. It's the best and worst of Parodius in one place, on the go. This has been Sushi Bites. Thanks for watching.